help us understand how big of a deal this is for utilities in California. I think we're used to covering this as a conversation about lawns versus farms. But hydropower is a huge issue here.
Hydropower used to be 20% of the electricity in California. Now it's 10%. So when you look at how big a state California is and how much electricity obviously is used all over for all kinds of uses, including farming, that 10% of total power has to be replaced by natural gas. So all else equal, there's going to be upward pressure on power prices and gas prices in California.
But there's supply there. We're not looking at rolling brownouts.
I don't see anybody talking about anything like that. Okay. There's an issue. There seems to be sufficient capacity to get the gas into California. It's always higher priced in California than it is in Texas because it has to go a ways. But so far, anyway, no big issues with enough gas to run the power plants.
Okay, and this is a complex interstate system as well. We're talking about problems in California, but California is sharing resources with a number of other western states.
Right. For example, the snowpack in the Sierra Nevada and the water out of the Colorado River all have to be shared with Arizona and Nevada, and the issues with the drought affect the snowpack that affect Oregon and Washington, although they don't compete directly with California. So all of those places are seeing a lot less hydropower, and therefore they're burning a lot more natural gas for electricity.
You don't know this, but we want you on a lot as our drought expert for California. What gets you nuts about, say, what Jerry Brown says or what the media says about the drought? The simplistic analysis that I feel I'm giving. What drives you nuts about where we are right now?
Well, I think what people need to keep in mind is you hear things like agriculture uses 80% of the water in California.
How do you respond to that?
Well, it's not true. It uses 40%, which is a lot, obviously, but 50% of the water in California effectively just goes back into the environment and runs down the rivers and helps to keep things green, and which is a political choice that people make.
But within the mathematics of this, the partial differentiator that's going to make an effect for Governor Brown, what is that going to be? People stop watering their lawns, or is it?
That's what they're trying to do. Golf courses will be browner. College campuses won't have as much water, that sort of thing.
California water issues have always been north versus south.
Correct.
Does this just exacerbate the problems in Southern California?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, it's southern and north. I mean, they both have significant issues. I think what this does is it ratchets up the scrambling for the water rights that you've had, for 100 and some years in California and throughout the West. California is a desert. I mean, Southern California, even Northern California is pretty dry, as you know, driving around there.
Well, we've been talking about, snowpack and runoff, but it seems like the other issue right now, particularly in the Central Valley, is the available water table is dropping dramatically as well. So we're looking at an overall storage that can't be replaced.
I think that's a huge issue that is really hard to handle by the governor saying, 25% reduction on lawns, and that is, everybody can pump water out of the ground, and it's hard to control who does it and how much is left.
My knowledge of this is Jack Nicholson and Faye Dunaway in Chinatown in 1974. Inform me about where it's going to be fixed. Again, I want to go back to this. You say golf courses. Come on, if we make the golf courses brown, that's going to make a difference?
I guess it'll make a little difference at the margin. But you're right. I mean, I think when you look at the cities and towns only use about 10% of all the water in California. So you can see that even if everybody cuts back 25%, that's not going to be all that huge of a difference at the end of the day.
Can you come back? I mean, I learned a lot here. This was great.